Good morning and welcome to A Better World with Julann and Fran. I'm Julann.
Hello, I'm Fran, and today we're interviewing Andi Hess, who is a certified hypnotherapist. And Andi, if you would let us know, please, what it is that you're doing that makes the world a better place.
When I saw that question, I was so excited to have this conversation with you because I have been on my own healing journey for a really long time, of course. And I don't think very many people approach making the world a better place through wanting what you really want. So I am really invested in helping particularly women in their second act. That's who I like to work with, but everybody I come across, um, to own that they really want something and to become the person who can have it. And I think that there's a lot of healing that goes into that, but there's also a lot of becoming. And I really believe that when we become who we truly are and allow ourselves to actually be happy, that radiates out and affects everyone else around us. So I love helping people find what they want and actually have the courage to go for it.
It's so exciting. What modalities do you use?
So I mostly use hypnotherapy. I'm a hypnotherapist and coach. So when I get to work with people, I really like getting the subconscious mind on board with what the conscious mind wants. But there's a little bit of backwardness in that too. A lot of times when I'm working with my clients, I'll talk about, so many times, right? We say like, oh, I don't know what I want, or, um, well, I don't need all of that. I just want, like, instead of this, I just want this, right? And so I'll talk a lot about, your subconscious mind knows. It knows what you like deeply desire, what you really actually want, not what the world told you to want, not what your mom told you to want when you were growing up. It knows what you truly want. And I believe that desire, I believe that dream, whatever your dream is, I believe it was given to you to grow you into the person that you're supposed to become, not for the thing itself. Like, right, even if you want a Ferrari, right? It's not about the Ferrari, it's about who you need to become to have the Ferrari, who you need to become in the process. And so um, sometimes I find that you actually have to get your conscious mind on board with what you deeply and truly desire as well. So I like using that modality to help kind of bridge the conscious and the subconscious so that you can be all on the same page and not really at war with yourself, right? Talk about making the world a better place. When you're fighting with yourself isn't even a better place.
It's funny that you say that because that's what I was thinking this morning, that we spend so much time thinking about what we should have done, what we wish we did do, or having regrets, and it sticks us in this place. And if we could just embrace the journey, whatever it is, whatever steps that you're helping people to take, it's the joy is in the journey. So if you could just be present and, I don't know, be grateful and, I don't accept whatever, I say embrace the suck, because we know you make a plan and something happens and nothing ever goes the way. But if we could just figure out, like when you forget your keys at home or you lock yourself out, instead of saying, oh, I'm such an idiot, I can't believe it. Maybe we're supposed to slow down, or we were supposed to take a different path, or you know what I mean? So if we could just, I don't know, be nice to ourselves on the way, I think life would be better and we would be better to other people.
Absolutely. I so agree. I've had so many really interesting experiences this year, um, that really kind of come down to this idea that, you know, we are souls who got a body. Like, you won the lottery, you got a body, and that body
Yeah.
is a way to interact with the world, right? And so that is the whole point of being here at all, is just to be able to interact with it, to be able to lose your keys, right? Like, imagine that. And I'll just briefly say I lost all three of my grandparents this year in this year,
Oh,
and they all had
I'm
fantastic,
sorry.
wonderful, long lives. The first was my grandmother, who was 103.
God
Wow.
bless.
I sat there by her bedside, and I was doing Reiki in the room, and as she passed and everything. And later on, I was doing a hypnosis journey for myself, and one of the prompts was to go to the very last moment of your life, and I had just been by my grandma's bedside as as I did this meditation. And so I was instantly transported into her body, like looking at the room, right? And the room was filled with her children and her grandchildren. And I realized that there was no one in that room that knew her just as an adult, just as who she was in her life, right? They all of us only knew her as, you know, oh, well, she's now grandma, or she's mom, and she's this and she's that. And it didn't include, these beautiful things we were finding as we went through her things, like these letters from, in the middle of World War II, from, soldier to her and stuff like that. And so as I was transported there, I just realized that, gosh, when you get to the end, you better have lived for yourself, right? Because you're the only person at the end who has known who you are. And everybody has that separate idea of who you are, your mom, or your grandma, or your employee, or you're this or you're that. To every person, you're this kind of different person. But at the end, especially at 103, right, none of her friends were there, nobody who knew her as a person,
Right.
human. And it was just the most beautiful realization that you have to be living for you, because at the end, you're the person you spend the most time with, right? You have to live for you.
Hmm, that's beautiful.
It was a beautiful moment. I really appreciated having that experience this year.
And I feel like your grandmother knows that you had that experience and orchestrated it for you.
I'm sure that's the case. I've had it's so funny, as I've lost all three of them this year, that I've also been surrounded by a lot of grandmother type figures. Um, they've just come into my life, these mentors and coaches, and just amazing people who I just feel so grateful to know, because I think we're all on that journey, right? And when we're able to really embrace what we love and then share it with other people like that, when we're able to be a model of what it looks like to live a happy and kind and, you know, just joyous life, that does more than anything else, I think.
I think it's funny because when you're in the present, or when you have intuition, or you're open, you get those things, like all of these older people that you're finding that are stepping in. Today, I thought of end of life and how people see each other. So we're in tune. Now, maybe that's because you were supposed to come on, or we were, but I'm a grandmother now. Of course, a wife and a mother, and, all these other things. But I look around my home and it looks like Toys R Us threw up. And I'm serious. So
Yeah.
we're having company today. My granddaughter's getting christened, and everywhere you look, there's a truck or a toy or a book, and it brings me, I could actually get upset here. It brings me such joy. Someone could walk in and think, oh my God, like what? But that's my joy, being with them and seeing them and reading to them and getting things for them. And I have a friend who doesn't have grandkids yet, who's able to travel and do a lot of fun stuff. And in our friendship, she says things like, well, I don't understand. Why do they have to come right when you're leaving to do X? And I say, but it's a joy. So you just you wait a half hour, or I don't take as many pictures as I wish I would, because I'm in the moment. And I think whatever we do, I was shopping yesterday, all day running around doing things. And everywhere I went, I noticed people, cranky people. Like,
Hmm.
I was raised to walk to the right. right? You always walk to your right. So if you always walk to your right and everybody else is walking to the right, then you don't bang into each other, right? So just some basic things to get through the day. But I'm watching people walk directly at a person, or they race to get somewhere, or they're just so grumpy. And I'm so not grumpy. So I told my husband, I had on his fire department shirt. My husband's a fireman, my son's a fireman. And sometimes I'll wear it because it's good and you don't have to wear a coat and you're running around. And I think when I'm in it, I have to be extra kind and good because I'm representing people that give everything they have to. So you can all, which I do anyway, you can go ahead of me or you can, but I watch the transformation of the people that I'm coming in contact with and how they treat me differently and then the next person differently. If you just don't get mad, if you try to open yourself up or share your, I don't know, I don't even know, not kindness, but I don't know, just be aware and be more open to being kind. Like imagine you have no idea what that grumpy person's going through. So if you can just don't get mad. Like I told Fran, my a yoga teacher said to me, she talked to us in the morning and she'd say, listen, if you hold the door for someone, don't say, you're welcome, because then you ruin the whole thing. You know what I mean? So go through life just, I'm not saying people should walk all over you either, but
Right.
try to, I don't know, be kind, be less grumpy than, I don't know, the next guy. How's that? This way I don't set the bar too high. Start
So
out,
important. It's so
right.
important. But I love what you were saying at the beginning there because it reminded me of this idea that, having grandchildren, right? So I am in the in between. My kids have grown, they're out of the house, they haven't had grandkids yet. I know they're in the future, but none of them are in a rush, which is great. And so I'm in this in between stage and it's beautiful and it's time for, puppies. That's what I did instead of
Nice.
instead of children. But I actually had this experience when I was like 37. I was in the hospital in Serbia for a while, and nobody there, of course, spoke English, so I had a lot of time to talk to myself. And I realized in that it was such a break, right? That I was able to like sit down and think and realize that I had actually already checked off all of my bucket lists, and I was still just spinning my wheels, right? Trying to hit the same goals that I'd always had that I already hit, right? We forget. And it made me stop and take a step back. And it's like every season of life has these beautiful things and it has these annoyances, right? And when I was in that period of my life where I was running towards all of my goals and doing all the things and traveling all the time, there's no time for a puppy. I wasn't home, right? There was no time for that kind of, deep commitment.
Commitment.
Exactly. And the love that comes back from that, right?
Right.
And so the castles and the travel and the just all of the experiences and the food, oh my goodness, so amazing and so grateful to have had that experience. But at the same time, also so grateful to have had the experience of this pause, of this calm, of learning to be okay with myself, right? Learning to be okay with the quiet and allowing myself to feel the completeness of like, no, I don't feel like I need to get on a plane right now, right? And there'll be a time when I do again, I'm sure.
Hopefully.
Right. And there'll be a time when I want the fire trucks under my feet, right? There'll be a time
Right.
when it's not dog toys and it's baby toys again. And all of those times have these beautiful moments if you allow yourself to be in them. And they have the annoying moments if you allow yourself to be in them. But it's the wholeness of it, right?
And
And it's all just a season. It's all just a season.
and it's just if we can all do it, right? We want to make a better world, right? We talk about it all the time. You see all this awful stuff going on. But if each and every one of us do just a little tiny thing every day or once an hour or, you know, like not knowing your grandmother as a woman. I was thinking of that today because we all have so many parts of us and we share as much as we can. That doesn't mean we lose ourselves. We still have our joys and our loves, and but I don't know, just if we could just be nicer to ourselves and embrace whatever step we're at, and then go out into the world a little bit more confident or a little bit more kind or a little bit more, like I see people with a lot of money and they have a lot of money, but they're worried about that money and they don't want to buy things and they don't want to do anything and they don't want to, you know what? And people who don't really have much are willing to give every single thing that they have. So where's that disconnect? Enjoy that money. What good is it if you don't go on a trip or buy that
Yes.
blouse that you want? Exactly. So that's what we need to do to make the world a better place. Let everybody be okay with where they are and who they are, and just try to be a little bit better today and a little bit better tomorrow. In whatever it is, accepting yourself, cleaning, not cleaning, embrace the suck. And then you'll be a better person and that you'll help the world be a better place, I think. That's just my
100%.
humble opinion.
Well, I agree completely. The energy that you put out is what you attract. So
Right.
the more positive the energy that you put out, the more positive the energy that you attract. And and in the meantime, you're making the world a better place. Absolutely.
But how do we get more people to do it? Everyone's angry politically, or, again, we talk about church, not to keep bringing it up, but I'm going today to christen my granddaughter because that's what they want to do. But it so much is antiquated and they don't open themselves to loving and letting everyone love each other. And our faith, well, it's changing because young people don't want anything to do with the church because they're hypocritical and they don't change with the times and they're pushy. And maybe that's what happens with a mother-in-law or a sister-in-law or your next door neighbor, because they have such firm beliefs in what they want, what they think is right, that they can't open themselves up to see a different way or to act a different way, or you know what I mean? And the deacon that's helping my daughter that's doing this is kind, and he's a beacon to the faith of life is changing, the world is changing, be open, be kind, be inclusive, and
You just
little
hit it on
things
the
like
head completely, right? I think the best thing we can do and the biggest thing we can do is to model it, because you can't get to somewhere that you can't see, right? So if I haven't been able to see someone in this environment or that environment, or someone like me, or someone with kids, or someone with, this chronic illness, or whatever it is, if I can't see someone that I can identify with in some way, living fully, happily, joyously, in kindness, not in competition, not in rejection, but in collaboration and acceptance. If I can't see that, I can't be that. I don't know. I don't have a roadmap for that. Right. And so I think, even as a hypnotherapist, I don't feel like I'm doing that just with my clients, right? I have a reputation. Someone at one point called me obnoxiously positive. I thought it
me
was,
too. That's me, annoyingly positive.
I
Yep.
thought it was the best description of
Compliment.
myself
It is.
I've
It's a
ever heard.
compliment
Exactly. I will put that, I'll
on your
tattoo that on
business
my
card.
forehead. Yep.
Put that on your business card.
because I'm gonna annoy you with how genuinely happy and positive I
Absolutely.
am, and how much I truly believe that you can live this way too. And
I agree.
that's not just when you're working with me, like as a client, that's with everyone. So, I'm on a couple, different boards, and I'm an event coordinator for a few different, for a nonprofit. And I just launched the Holistic Chamber of Commerce, and things like that. And so that's part of what I bring to like every
Thing you
event
do.
I run, every person I'm talking to. It's like, how can you be more you? Less someone else, less what someone else wants you to be, and just more you. And I just think that joy and that, it's radiance. And that's the thing, right? It radiates out.
Right.
And when you are living that, you don't know who's watching, right? It's like, oh, who am I to shut? And okay, I'm out doing these events or whatever, but I'll get a client who's like, well, I'm just at home or something. Well, guess what? Don't you want your daughters to also radiate joy? Don't you want
Right. Embrace the suck.
exactly? It's
Not that being home is a suck. You
no,
know what I mean? But don't feel less because you don't have more or you don't have, and there we go back to the same thing again. We're in our own heads. I wish I had this, or I
well, it's
want to
not
go
even
here.
more, it's different, right? It's
Right,
just different. There's a
exactly. Right,
season. There's a
right.
season for everything. There just is.
Absolutely is. Absolutely. Andi, what do you think led you to where you are now to study what you've studied and get the education you've gotten?
That is a fantastic question. So I think in terms of this conversation, very much two things. So first of all, hypnotherapy and this healing journey and everything. I've kind of been on that journey since I was 10. And I'll be completely honest. Okay, so I'm 10 years old. It's like the 80s. I find this cassette tape in a garage sale. It's self-hypnosis. I am thrilled because lazy me is like, you mean I can just turn on a tape while I sleep and I can change myself that way? That sounds so much easier. Oh my gosh, I'm totally in. And I listened to that tape every night until like from 10 to 21, and I lost it and I had to wait for the internet to be invented to find it again. But I learned the modality through that, right? I learned how and then of course went back to school to really get a toolbox when I was going to start using it with clients. But I was just absolutely obsessed with this idea that our minds are pliable. We can change the things about ourselves that are not useful to us, right? And at the age of 10 with, undiagnosed ADHD and, my mind going everywhere, that's what I needed. It was like my mind is not doing what I want it to do. And so how can I help it do what I want it to do? But I think the other thing, in terms of this conversation, and I think this is why I'm obnoxiously positive, because there was a day that I remember so vividly when I was 16. I had just, I don't know, I'd been struggling, and I think there was probably some depression there and some thoughts of my own making about, you're in high school, right? Like being judged and who your friends are and all these things. And, I think it was really in a down place. And I decided, I remember literally deciding, I don't like feeling like this. I'm just going to be happy. No matter what, I'm just going to be happy. And when I think about that, and I talk to, clients or whatever who come up with, how do you stay so positive? And it's just so natural to me now because I've been practicing since I was 16. I've been practicing for 26, 27 years, something like that. This idea of I can just choose to be positive. It doesn't matter who made fun of me today at school or, who was mean to me in the conference room today at my work meeting or any, like, who was mean in the grocery store, whatever. I just decided right then and there that I was going to be happy. And then I practiced it, right? I'm not going to tell you that was easy. Looking back, it's easy
Right.
now, but it was a decision. And so I think that was a big thing that got me here. And I'm grateful to my 16-year-old self for recognizing that was a decision.
Nice.
That's wonderful. That is wonderful. How can people get in touch with you if they want to use your services?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am my company is called Remix Coaching because I believe you already have everything you need. You just need to remix it. So you can find me on Instagram at Remix Coaching. On Facebook, I'm Remix Coaching Chandler. That's the location I'm in. So Chandler is the city. And my website's remixcoach.com.
It was
Wonderful.
so nice to talk to you today. It really was. I hope someone listens.
I'm sure whoever needs to hear it is listening.
Will. There you go. That's great.
Excellent. Okay, are there any other things you'd like to add about making the world a better place before we end?
I think I just want to kind of emphasize the message that your subconscious knows exactly what you want and you really can't fool it. So work on owning what you actually want and living into that, because everything will change when you decide that it's okay to want what you actually want.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you
It
so
is.
much.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
being here.
I appreciate the opportunity to come on and have this conversation.
It was great. Our days are better because of it.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so this has been A Better World with Julann and Fran, and we are signing off now.